everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Best and Worst. And this is a show where we like to take one of our favorite talents and talk about their best and worst films that we have seen. And it's a lot of fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey, Rachel, it's great to be back with you once again. And today we're going to be doing Best and Worst of Harrison Ford. And to think, this guy wanted to be a carpenter. Like, no, seriously.
Yeah.
His career started when he was doing carpentry for George Lucas. And Lucas took one look at him and said, "Hey, can you read these lines really quick?" And it turned out to be the lines for some guy named Han Solo. And the rest is history. And over the past, 40 years or so, Harrison Ford has pretty much had a ton of roles other actors would kill for. Han Solo, Indiana Jones, he was Jack Ryan at one point, and not to mention these other smaller movies that he's been a part of. Like he's had and still has had a career that other actors would just die for.
Yeah, he was famously in both the Blade Runner movies. He has done all the franchises that have been successful practically, except for a superhero movie. Hasn't done that yet, but he's incredible. And I know for best and worst, I did not pick Star Wars just because I feel like the other movies are more his movie and he's more of a side character in Star Wars, but he's so great. It's Han Solo.
He's part of an ensemble, but man, what an ensemble it was.
And I think you would, if you were to poll people, the majority of people would say that Han Solo is their favorite character. I think he would win for Star Wars characters. He's very popular.
At least all the people that I know.
Yeah, that's right. Me too. Well, so let's dive in. What is your favorite Harrison Ford role?
My favorite of Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, because I think that objectively Raiders of the Lost Ark is the best Indiana Jones movie, but the one that I consistently go back to time in and time out is The Last Crusade, and that falls at the feet of the amazing chemistry between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, may he rest in peace. Those two just click. You can't I can't explain it, but it's literally the two just are like peaches and cream together. They're like peanut butter and jelly, and they just act off each other so well. And Last Crusade, I think people overlook it slightly because Raiders is so excellent, but Last Crusade is in many ways just as excellent, if not more so. The action is just as good as Raiders. There are sometimes even more darker moments, like pretty much the entire Grail sequence and Walter Donovan's death. No spoilers to the two of you that haven't seen this movie. But this movie is it's just endlessly rewatchable. And the back and forth between Connery and Ford is just awesome. Junior? Yes, sir. It is you, Junior. Don't call me that, please. Well, what are you doing here? Rescuing you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And they named the dog Indy.
I named the dog Indiana, and Solid just gives him crap for it. Oh, my God. I love this movie.
It's really good. I thought about picking one of the Indiana Jones because I think that is probably his best role. Just all three of them. He's great in all four of them, but the fourth one we try to pretend doesn't exist. I could pick that one for worst. But yeah, the especially the first and third are so fun, so entertaining, and great stunts and great sense of humor about them. A great style. Feels like sort of those 1950s serials, which are just really energetic and adventurous. And so I think it's a great pick. For my best, I decided to go with something different and to talk about The Fugitive. And The Fugitive, I think, is such an entertaining film. It's so well made. And I think people forget that Tommy Lee Jones won an Oscar for his role here as the sheriff, and everybody knows his iconic-ish search every doghouse, hen house,
outhouse.
And of course, the scene with in the what do they call it? In the dam, where he says,
I'm innocent. I don't
I
care.
don't care. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. It's great and very good at building the tension, and you're rooting for Richard Kimball to be exonerated. And so, yeah, it's, I think, really well done. It's got Julianne Moore in it. And but really, it's that dynamic between Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford that's so good.
I have not seen this movie in a very long time, but what I do remember of it, I do love. This is such an effective, like, cat and mouse type of movie. It's where Kimball is consistently like on the back foot. There's not an instance where he is like on top of things, and when he is for like a second, just more crap just piles on top of him. It's like it's one of those things where it's just like you want him so badly to prove himself innocent, and
Yeah.
that's what makes it effective.
And when he goes into the jail to interview the person that he thinks might have done it, that whole scene is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a great movie. You should all see it if you haven't seen it. So, all right, well, let's talk about our worst of Harrison Ford.
So for my worst, and this is not the worst movie ever made, but its only sin is that it's just very boring. It's Paranoia. And this movie is just an insomnia cure if there ever was. It's essentially Liam Hemsworth trying to like stick it to one corporation while also working for said corporation, and just I don't know. And just it's one of those movies where it's like, how did they get Gary Oldman and how did they get Harrison Ford? Harrison Ford has no hair in this movie, and he just looks like he would rather be flying than doing this crap. Like Harrison Ford is kind of getting a reputation now as like the type who would rather be anywhere else but there. And to a certain extent, I kind of sympathize for him, but here it's definitely pronounced. It's like, well, I don't have to work for the rest of the year, so but it shows how much he didn't want to be a part of this.
I think we talked about this in Gary Oldman's video, Best and Worst.
My opinion still stands.
Yeah, because Gary Oldman is in so many stinkers. He is just surprising he wasn't in Cats, because it seems like something he would. He is in so many notoriously terrible movies, and this is one of them that not only is it bad, it's also boring, like you said. It's not even fun bad.
It's not even like The Happening where you can
No.
laugh at how insane it is, or Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
It's just like 30 minutes in, you're just like, when does this end again? When is this over? Like that's the feeling.
Yes. Well, for my worst, Harrison Ford has done a couple romantic movies. He did Sabrina, which I really enjoy, the remake. And he can do that leading man, obviously, and even in Indiana Jones, he does that. But in 6 Days, 7 Nights, it is not successful. He's paired with Anne Heche. They get in a crash. They have to, survive together, and they hate. It's the enemies to lovers trope, which is a really common one in romance, but it's very tricky to pull off because you have to make the switch at just the right time, or your characters come off as unlikable and they don't have the chemistry. And it's like everybody's trying to be Pride and Prejudice, where they have this animosity for a while and then switch, or like a Benedict and Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing, or something like that. But in the case of this movie, they just come across as really annoying, especially Anne Heche's character. Just like, oh, go away. They don't have any chemistry at all, and it's not a great film. At the time, it was a big scandal because she was dating Ellen DeGeneres, which is ridiculous that was a problem. but it was like a big scandal. The idea of a lesbian playing in a heterosexual role in a movie, in a romantic comedy, but that's stupid.
It's
It's just
called,
not
it's called acting, y'all. It's called acting.
yeah, that's right. It's just not a particularly good movie is the problem. But yeah, that was it's kind of crazy how far we've come, because I don't think that would nobody would care about that now, hopefully.
I have never seen this movie. I have heard nothing but terrible things about it.
Yeah.
It's one of those, whereas like the early to like late night, like the 90s were a good decade for Harrison Ford, like with very few like, oh, why did he choose that? And out of all the
Yeah.
movies that he was in that decade, like that was among them.
Yeah, this was 1998, so you're right. And Ivan Reitman, I mean, he's a good director, but
Yeah.
it just didn't make that switch to we like each other, we're in love kind of a thing, right? And so it just leaves kind of a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. Ivan Reitman was normally great. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters, like he was just he he was good at his job.
Yeah, definitely. So there we go. That is my worst. And so Harrison Ford, I think he came out pretty unscathed. Not too bad.
Yeah, like I said, his career has been one of mostly positives, and picking my best for him was truly hard. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, Blade Runner 2049, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, like like his Jack Ryan movies. Like you could go, like you
Mhm.
were spoiled for choice, or at least I
Air
was.
Force One. Get off my
Get
plane.
off my plane.
So there we go. Let us know what you think of these movies. What do you think is the best and worst of Harrison Ford? We'd love to have your thoughts in the comments section. So please let us know. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, which is just called RyanCam. On Monday, I dropped a video for 12 Angry Men as part of the AFI project. 12 Angry Men is one of my all time favorite movies, so it was fun to talk about that. Then Wednesday, I'll be dropping an AFI project video for Bringing Up Baby, which I watched for the first time and really enjoyed. Then on Friday, I'll be dropping an AFI project video for The Sixth Sense from 1999. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then this coming Sunday will be my first reaction to My Neighbors the Yamadas from Studio Ghibli. And then next week will be my big new release roundup where I talk about all the new releases that I saw in the months of April and May. So if you haven't checked out my channel, please do. I'm at 143 subscribers. I'm so close to 150 and I want to get there. So please, if you haven't checked me out, please do.
And make sure you check out our longer episode where we talk about Paramount Plus, and we had a lot of fun doing that. So take a look over there. And also, you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And you can also find me at the Hallmarkies Podcast. Please check that out. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group and merch store, which has lots of fun stuff. Take a look over there, and we'll be back. If you have any ideas of what you would like us to talk about next for best and worst, just put in the comment section, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.